Jason's been trying to hide these files for years after being at P. Diddy's house and using other. You don't want to be associated with too many people. P. Diddy already, and Epstein, I don't think so.
True. We already thought that you were connected to P. Diddy with the oil and the bridge and all the things
Falling
you've
at his
been
house
on.
and Super Bowl party.
So,
I was at his house before that party, I guess, went down. And no, I have no association with
Diddy.
Before Diddy went down.
Yeah. Well, no, before the party went down.
Got it. It's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to keep up with.
Was Epstein at the party though? Possibly.
He might have been. We don't know.
You didn't know who he. You probably didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, I didn't. I doubt it.
Probably not. That would probably been widely reported at this point.
I do not second guess any of it. I think anything's possible. He could have been there. We don't know.
Yeah, there's all these famous people,
and they all hang out together.
They do. Epstein files. You can't escape it. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean, it's social media. And people are. I think everyone's on the same side. Like, let's figure this out.
Well,
but then it's like it's going to be released. It's not going to be released. Now it's going to be released.
It started a whole campaign about release the files, release the files, release the files, and then at some point it was like, oh, we're still talking about this.
Like in the first week, like here's the files,
Yeah.
and it was like some of the files, and then it was like.
But
well,
nothing.
This has been going on for years.
I know.
I mean,
yeah.
Remember when Squid and I were obsessed with the flight log?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything we turned up, we were like,
Then the flight log.
what are you having for lunch today? I don't know. Whatever we're having, is it on the flight log? Did they eat that on the flight on the way to Epstein Island? We're obsessed.
It's so true.
Yes.
We do have our official attorney, Lisa Lanier, on the phone to break it all down. Good morning, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so the latest on the Epstein files is that, as you guys know, there was a vote and the legislation was passed. And the vote was huge. You know, it was Republicans. It was a veto-proof majority, and so Trump signed it. And the president, you know, it's a big about face, right? Because he was saying don't release, and now he's like, okay, I'll sign it. So what happens now is we have a 30-day countdown for the Justice Department to release the files. And Pam Bondi has been directed by this legislation to release all files and all internal communications about the Epstein matter. So all the internal emails and everything.
From the government? The internal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
But there are exemptions. Okay. And so this is where it's full of loopholes, and that's part of the problem. So a pretty normal one for legislation like this is to exempt victim identifying information. In other words, redact victims' names. So that's common sense, right?
Sure.
But then it gets a little more vague from there. They are able to exempt parts that they consider classified for national defense or classified for foreign policy.
National defense?
There you go, the classified.
Right. Here we go. Exactly right. So that's nebulous. And there's an exemption for anything that involves an active ongoing investigation. So, you know, you may recall that President Trump called for a bunch of new investigations a few days ago. That's not a coincidence, right? Because then that's going to exempt a whole bunch of these files. So the other thing that the legislation requires is that they must report not disclosing the exempted documents, but to basically disclose that they exempted certain documents, but without giving the actual document. So they have to describe what they're exempting or redacting. Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you that, no one on either side of the aisle has a lot of faith in full disclosure here. I mean, Republicans who sponsored this legislation and overwhelmingly passed it said compliance will be a challenge for this administration.
What about, let me ask you, Lisa, why, because this has been going on for years, and both parties have had the Epstein files. Why hasn't this released a long time ago? Like, why do both parties hold on to it? Is there because they think there's donors or something that is in this thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's filled with damaging information, probably for people on both sides of the political spectrum. And so each party has had its reasons for trying to withhold it, and it just continues.
What's the reason? What are they saying the reasons are? Is it because of the victim identity thing, or what are they? What is the reason?
No. I mean, I think there are famous people. I mean, if you look at what happened in the UK with Prince Andrew, I mean, there are seriously famous, important people who were traveling to Epstein Island and having sex with 13-year-olds. Yeah. And And they don't want that to come out. And then we're talking
On
major
either
donors.
side. Yep.
But why?
On either side. Yeah.
Because if the left wants to protect the left and the right wants to
Right.
protect the right,
but
and because those things matter
Yeah,
to
but
them.
if these people are,
being identified as a pedophile is huge.
yeah, that's my point though. Like, if you are on the left or the right, wouldn't you want to expose, no matter what party it is, some pedophile?
we
you think
do.
so?
Why
I think
wouldn't the
normal,
government?
You
I
have
think
nothing to
normal,
hide.
100%.
Yeah, normal people want that.
Yes.
But people who are in power, normal, everyday, good people want
Yes.
that. They don't care who's on the list.
Exactly.
But people who are in power on the left and the right are never going to give up one of their own.
They're not going to give up one of their own when it comes to something this serious.
No, that's the sickest part of it all.
I think the only hope, here's the only hope, I think, for it being released this time around is that what I've read is that the Republican Party is kind of starting to sort of eat Trump, to, implode on Trump. And if that happens, then they may push, for actual full disclosure to sort of bring him down, because Vance very much, I think, wants that. And there's already ads that Vance has created that say Vance 2028, MAGA without the dementia.
No way.
I don't believe that for a second.
No way.
I don't believe that for one
he's
second.
He's already dropping hints about it. I promise. It's a thing. He's thinking about it. He's already starting to subtly kind of break ranks.
Now they're saying he
with
has
President
dementia.
Trump.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not very fun when that happens, is it? Not
Well,
very
there's
fun
big
when it
one-
happens.
One for sure does, and the other one did not.
Okay.
We don't know.
Let me ask you though.
Whether he does or he doesn't, I'm saying the point is that I think that's the only hope of release. And I don't know. I'm not endorsing Vance or anyone. I'm just saying that if there is going to be finally a release, it's, I think, because of internal strife among Republicans.
Let me ask you. Sorry, but I'm so interested.
Yeah,
so let's say one question is a lot of people have gone to this island, celebrities, politicians, everybody, but a lot of people were unaware. From what I kind of like P. Diddy's house. I went to P. Diddy's house and I was
There he goes
unaware.
again.
I wouldn't
Hold
say
on.
it.
I was unaware of those baby oil parties or whatever they're called.
Right.
Right.
So a lot of these people, major stars, major politicians, have gone to the Epstein Island, and from what I understand, a lot of them were unaware. Are they going to be viewed as horrible people, or is it going to be more of these people were definitely aware?
No, I think it's going to be way more sophisticated than that, because apparently the Epstein files, they include all sorts of interviews that were done with not just Epstein, but all the players involved. And, because he was prosecuted in Florida years ago, and there's just a trove of recordings, of interviews, of emails. And so what they're looking at is not just like a flight log to show that you went to Epstein Island, because you're right. I mean, it was a place that famous people went to, and there were fundraisers and things there. And some of them, it had nothing to do with pedophilia or sex trafficking. So what they're digging for is something much more detailed, where they're talking about specifics, where they can show that people were engaged in the sex trafficking portion of Epstein Island.
I see.
Interesting. So what would you say, and I've heard of this, and who knows if any of this is true, but I've heard that some politicians, they weren't necessarily part of it, but even after Epstein was either being tried or even convicted of something, some of the politicians were still like, hey, come on over. We want your money. Did
they know?
Yeah.
They knew at that
Absolutely,
point that all of it had happened?
I mean, is that going to be, where does that fit into? I think that's wrong and morally wrong, but they're desperate for the money, right?
So you're saying they knowingly took money from a pedophile?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to see that. I don't think that's going to be. I think that's going to be judged for sure, but probably not as harshly as the people who actually participated in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then
I think that's what we're going to see. That's where we're going to see the real outrage. But it's interesting, there have been serious allegations against President Trump from minors who say, who have said in testimony that there was sexual relation. And I don't, it's already, aside from the Epstein files, those things have come out already. And I don't, you haven't seen some big impeachment move or anything. So it may be that, that all this gets released and nothing happens, and everybody's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Well, that's
But,
what
I don't
happened
know what will
basically
happen.
with the P. Diddy thing. I know all that stuff happened, but we thought that all these
I know.
stars
It's
were
like,
going to be
and nothing.
nothing.
Like Jay-Z, nothing.
Well, and
Right.
based on what you were saying, Lisa, and I've been following along, obviously, but, with the exemptions, like the fact that the classified information, anything that's classified has to do with the president. So those things are not going to be released. And then anything that's in an ongoing investigation can also not be released. And so I just don't ever think we're going to get the full unedited version of the Epstein files. I just don't. I mean, there's been too much time
Probably not.
there, and not to mention government shut down for 60 days, and it's like there's just too much time that has passed for those documents to remain untouched.
I mean, the fact that it's been in 2 administrations.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
the last one did not release it. And then it was like, we're going to release it. Then we're not going to release
We're
it.
gonna
It's like,
call it a hoax,
what
and
is
it's like, what's
Like, what's
happening?
happening?
Okay, well,
I-
why-
I- hold on.
And there's been FBI agents who have openly said we were, and who've quit over this, who
Yeah.
have openly said we were instructed to scrub Trump's name from these files. I mean, so the shredder machines were going 24/7. So I think if whatever is left,
And if
who
anyone,
knows what it's going to be.
Yeah.
if there anyone that's on your team or our team or whoever's team is on there and like provable that they did this stuff,
Get 'em
bury,
out.
bury them
100%.
under the prison.
Yes,
Oh,
100%.
things- the
I think
things that-
Democrat, Republican, whatever, put them in the same cell and let them fight it out.
Yeah, there you
know?
go.
This truly
Send
is.
them to Epstein
I
Island.
really feel is one of the most bipartisan issues or topics ever.
Right.
That it is, you cannot defend.
No.
Because then you're standing up saying, well, they were 14.
It's okay for my guy.
Absolutely.
That's
when did
disgusting.
most
No.
of this happen? What year?
Oh.
I don't know, but
I mean,
some of the
years.
people that are confirmed to have been to the island doesn't mean
That doesn't mean anything.
but no, but it does mean that they were in proximity to
I mean,
possible.
there was a
things.
big span. There's a big time span that's covered by it.
But you got
and-
Prince. Oh, sorry, real quick. Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz. Sorry, I said it wrong. David Copperfield, your boy Jason.
Oh yeah, I've heard
Stephen
bad things
Hawking.
about him.
He's passed away. Kevin Spacey. We just heard about Bill Richardson. He's a politician. Some people you wouldn't know the name. Michael Jackson. Been to the island, and then some other people that have been rumored to be to the island. I mean, like Kate Blanchett, Naomi Campbell, Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Gore, George Lucas, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I don't think all of them knew the
No.
I think
horrors that
Will
were
Smith.
happening.
They,
But
yeah.
here's something scary I just realized because I've studied magic all my life. And
Boy.
David Copperfield, he's been accused of trapping people. He bought an island and trapping people on the island and doing sexual things to them.
I've heard that.
And
Yeah.
maybe he got the idea from Epstein.
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. Yeah, I mean, you never know. And the interesting thing is these accusations have been flying around for a long time, right, about the underage girls and all that. But then that email gets leaked about, President Trump sucked somebody's ding dong, blah, blah, whatever. And the whole world lost their mind.
Yeah.
So that, that's interesting. If there's more of that kind of stuff, holy cow.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you're going to see people lose their minds. So part of it is what's in there, and how people react to certain things. Because they don't seem very triggered by the underage girls, but they seem very triggered by the ding dong factor.
Well, yeah, right, exactly. It's kind of when Diddy, it's like all this stuff, and like, oh, he was gay too. It was like, what? That was like the story for a while. I don't know why, but I guess because we didn't know that. It was like new information. The only thing is, though, we know the government has, or people in the government, a lot of them have no qualms about being whatever, morality or whatever. But there's also like to have all these people not saying something. You think some stuff would be leaked, like a lot of stuff would be leaked by now.
Well, I think for a long time it was leaked in the
but
sense
it was
that
never like any details. Like they went to the island, but it wasn't like what were they doing? Or Bill Clinton got massages at an airport from a 15-year-old, and you're like on his back. There's pictures of it, and it was like, okay, but it seems like it's hard to keep a secret, and you have damaging information, but it must be
because I think
it must be
yes,
such collateral damage.
Such collateral.
But it's got to
and
be like innocent people, but I guess maybe it's pressure just not to do it because they don't want to be like, oh,
that I
you're
want
the
to be
one.
involved. I don't want to be the one
Well,
to say.
and massage is a code, and it's a gateway for all this, and that's what Epstein. That was his MO. Was Ghislaine Maxwell would scour the streets for beautiful young kind of waifs that were like lost in the world and runaways and all kinds of stuff, and she would say, "Hey, come here. Would you like to make $250?" Which was a lot of money, to these girls. And all you got to do is give this guy a massage. And the girl would be like, I've never given a massage, whatever. It's okay. We'll show you what to do. And then that ends up culminating in rape. And that's and then
terrible.
sex trafficking.
Is it possible, Lisa, with the things that you said about the, they could possibly have exemptions? Is it possible that one administration comes out, votes for the Epstein files, has these things that they can not release, then the next administration, let's say it's on the other side, they can release those and then have their own exceptions?
I mean, yeah, it's the exemptions are in the bill, and so they will apply going forward regardless. But what you may see, I mean, kind of to your point, I think, is you may see this administration releasing all but X amount, and the next one coming along and releasing that X amount. You could see that because the same piece of legislation is going to apply across time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and not to make light of this, but I thought a very clever skit about this on SNL, because it's the biggest thing, how they handle it. MacGyver was a show on TV a long time ago, but on SNL they have MacGruber, which is he's just an idiot. He's it's a parody of MacGyver.
Yeah.
Lisa, have you seen that?
No, I gotta check it out.
Because he's always trying to save the day at the last minute, and then when he's trying to save the day, Glenn Powell was the host. He's like, I got these very important Epstein files, and then it goes from there where MacGruber basically is like, no, give them to me, and because he's in them, it's very it's a clever way to kind of talk about it without making it political.
It's
it was just
very funny.
They put it all on the character in the skit, but it also raised things like all these powerful people not protecting children. I don't understand it.
Yep.
Like even Sound of Freedom. Did you ever watch Sound of Freedom, Lisa?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Very powerful, and they have the stats at
Very
the end.
powerful.
But then somehow then there's people against that movie, and I'm like, if you're against that movie, you're kind of telling on yourself. Like, why are you so against this movie being out? Like some celebrities and stuff. Like, why are you so against a movie about that's raising awareness about sex trafficking?
Did they say why?
Human trafficking?
No.
They try to say.
And you guys, a big part of my practice is child sex abuse litigation, where I go after predators and institutions. And I have to tell you, you would be so shocked at the volume of phone calls that I get every day about horrific child sex abuse and sex trafficking. It is, I believe it is an epidemic, and we need to talk about it, and we need to stand up for these kids.
Absolutely.
Because it's not happening. And I don't care what political party you are, screw that. Stand up for these kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In the good book, and I think whether you're lying or not, it was talking about you're better to be thrown into the sea with a stone around your neck than to hurt a child. And then we see, and it's pervasive, and it's in every community in the country, in the world. Like we think it's, that's a problem overseas, or it's happening when people are crossing some people crossing the border.
It is here.
It is in your city.
Yes.
Somewhere, somehow, maybe a different scale, it's happening, and it's very, very sad. And it's probably the worst possible thing that's going on in the world that is not getting enough attention.
And so you can understand why when there are people who are defending it, who are saying, well, we can't talk about that, or we don't want to know, he's not on, or whoever is not on the list. If you defend it, to me, you are just as bad as someone who is committing it.
Yeah,
because you're allowing it. You're turning a blind eye.
I totally see that 100%. But how many times you see a video and you're like, that person's guilty, and then you see the whole thing of why it happened.
Yeah, you want to be falsely accused.
You want to be right, but once you know.
But if you're obstructing
if you know,
Yes.
anybody that's involved with should be.
And I don't care if you're 14 or you're 8. There is no difference to me.
Any age, really,
if you're
sex trafficking.
That comment about a 14-year-old, oh my gosh, that is so sick. I mean, we've got to stand up. I mean, think about a 14-year-old.
I know.
And these, that's just.
But isn't it any age? Aren't there adults that are sex trafficked too?
Women.
There are. Yeah, there are adults that are sex trafficked. Absolutely. And it's usually somebody in a vulnerable position and someone who has power over them. But it is often children, but it is adults too. And, it's people in power, and it's people in, sometimes, it's awful, but sometimes it's law enforcement. Sometimes it's, it's crazy.
Church people sometimes, that obviously are not.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Sound of Freedom made the point, I'm sure it's been made other times, it's technically now there's more slavery today than at any point in the history of our country, of the world, because of human and sex trafficking. People taken against their will and forced into sex trafficking and human trafficking. Higher than it's ever been. It's like hundreds of millions of people that are.
It's so bizarre to me.
I just learned yesterday from a colleague that there's a new form of sex trafficking for the wealthy. When you see these yacht charters, there are wealthy people who are chartering a yacht, and one of the services that they are offered is sex, but it's sex workers who are sex trafficked,
Oh,
who are
I can't
providing it,
believe
and
it.
they're providing it on yachts, and it's a whole niche thing of yacht sex trafficking. I mean, it's crazy.
It's just so bizarre that you have a crime that's spread out everywhere, and then you just don't see or hear a lot about it. And also, this Jeffrey Epstein, I don't understand how he got so many famous people, all these different politicians, to be a part of him. Like, what did he offer? Just money?
sex with underage girls.
Yeah, but all the people that went to the island that had no idea about it.
Money, fun, parties, prestige.
But where did this guy come from? He's not a politician.
You need to watch the documentary. You've got to watch the
Yeah.
Epstein File
Oh,
documentary.
yeah.
It explains all of that. I mean, he's a
Yeah,
total.
sure.
He was a total liar and
Con
manipulator.
man. Yeah.
His whole
I mean, he
life.
must have been
Yeah.
pretty good at
Yeah.
a
The Epstein
manipulator.
one is good, and the Ghislaine Maxwell one is
That's-
really good too, and
yep.
it shows a different point of view, and it's really, really good too.
Yeah. So, Lisa, you're great. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
breaking
Lisa.
it down. I know it's a very difficult subject, but it needs to be talked about. And, obviously she does that. So if you have an issue with that, you can contact her firm and they can help you with that. And she does a lot more than that. Lisa, we appreciate you. If you're ever injured, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.